As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. The blessing for the candle lighting is on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. We continue together on page 124. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. In presence, guided by our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest self. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. On page 130, we join in singing the first two lines of Psalm 95, which begin, "Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai."
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Naria, naria, lesuri yishenu, nekala fana betorah.
We greet Shabbat on page 138 with Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
I don't know about y'all, but I've had a bit of a challenging week. And it got me thinking, when Jim suggested this melody, so those of you who were on Facebook saw it, it just really healed my heart a little bit. So I thought we would do it together. The chorus is really simple. It's by Rabbi Josh Wachowski. Let it wash over you, and hopefully it will bring you the peace it brought me. Lecha Dodi, Librat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabala. Lecha Dodi, Librat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabala. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el ha'miyuchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, Zeim tiferet, velit hilah. Lecha Dodi, Librat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabala. Lecha Dodi,
Hitorari, Kivai Orech, Kumi Ori, Shir Daberi, Kevod Adonai, Alayich Nigla, Lechadoti, Likrat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabbalah, Lechadoti, Likrat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabbalah.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha u'betzola, toch emunei ham segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lechadoti,
Likrat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabbalah, Lechadoti, Likrat Allah, B'nei Shabbat Nekabbalah. We continue on page 145 at the bottom. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. Page 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, and the living language that gives it form, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael,
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi Chamocha, page 158.
Say
bottom of page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkah shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukkah shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
ata Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Hasei Avot V'Imaot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mahashiv Haruach Amorit Hagashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Micha mocha bal gevurot umido melach. Melech memit umechayef umatzmiach Yeshua. Ne'eman atah l'hachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom ya'alu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Page 171. Where might I go to find you, exalted hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'amcha Yisrael, Yitzei Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'amcha Yisrael. Page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lahodot. We continue reading silently to page 180, adding the prayers that are in our hearts. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech Adon v'chol hashalom.
The Mishberach prayer asks for healing. You'll find a list of some who need our prayers of healing, be it emotional, spiritual, or physical, in the e-news that you received this week. This list is also linked in the comments section. If you have additional names to add, please type them in the comments section so that we may add them to our prayers. For those here with us, we offer an opportunity to identify others who may need our prayers.
Tom Crago. Andrea Luskin.
Tatiana Schuklapper. We offer a prayer for those with addiction and mental health struggles. May the one who blessed our ancestors bring blessings of strength, compassion, and healing to those of us who struggle with the oppression of addiction, emotional distress, and mental suffering. Surround them with loving kindness, grace, and companionship, and bring them peace. It's now time for our Simcha moment. Please share a special Simcha, a joy from this past week online by typing your Simcha in the comments section, be it a birthday, anniversary, or other good news. If you're here in person, we invite you to come up to the Simcha mic, one person or one family at a time. Tell us your name and share your Simcha. I'm asked to remind you to please refrain from touching the microphone. It's very sensitive.
I am Julie Kaplan. I had an arduous week of study this week, and I am here to report that I am ready and able to offer my study class tomorrow. We will be talking about Mark Levin's book, Praying the Bible, at B'nai Yehuda right after services if you want to learn about the origin of the Avot prayer and the Givorot prayer and why Natan Sharansky is such a good guy and why we use this word and not that word. It's been a long week, but I did it.
I've had a long week, too. It started Tuesday night when I found out that Ron Zipper was in the hospital. And it ended when I sent out an email and said, I need to find a ride for Marilyn so that she can come to services and that she can go to the GFN conference on Tuesday, the solutions briefing. And I ran around doing errands today, and I stopped at home, and I read my email, and Betsy Wanger had volunteered to take Marilyn tonight, and Susan Cohen volunteered to take her on Tuesday, and it made me so happy. Beth Torah comes through.
Can I add something from here? Because I couldn't get around it. I was going to thank Carol for doing everything she did for Ron, for Betsy to take me, and for Sheila wanting to take me but couldn't.
So Marilyn's Simcha is Carol taking such good care of her and Ron, and we have one from online.
We actually have a text message from Ron who says that his Simcha is all the great things that Carol did.
Another Simcha. Carol, you're like everybody's Simcha this week. Thank you, Ron. We hope you're feeling better.
If you come to my class tomorrow, you can be mine too.
The medieval commentator Rashi points out that in the Parsha this weekend, Vayakel Pikudei, before Moses tells the people what God instructed for building the Mishkan, he tells them that the work should not supersede Shabbat. The reason he does it in this order is to be sure that they continually ask, "What am I trying to do with my work?" This keeps a person focused on the goal rather than the process, however difficult that might be. So, having completed a scientific paper, Albert Einstein and his assistant searched the office for a paperclip. They found one, but it was unusually bent and twisted. And for 10 minutes, they looked for an implement to straighten it so they could restore its form. But the only tools they could find in the small office were a few rulers, pencils, pens, and Albert Einstein's notes and books. Futilely trying to fix the bent clip, they nearly gave up until, after several more moments of searching, they came upon a whole box of paper clips. Einstein immediately reshaped one of the paper clips and used it to straighten the bent clip. Now, his assistant was puzzled because he couldn't imagine why Einstein was still doing this when he had a whole box of usable paper clips. "I had just established a goal," the prolific scientist said, "and once I set upon a goal, it becomes difficult to deflect me from my path." Rabbi Mordechai Kamenetsky tells this story to teach that, under similar circumstances, in reviewing the beauty of the Mishkan the Israelites were building, Moses had but one eternal question: are we building to create the most beautiful monument ever built, or is the Mishkan truly a vehicle that will allow us to get closer to Adonai? Thank you to all of those here and online who shared your joys with us tonight. You've raised the happiness of all the members of our CBT community. In honor of your events, we offer the following prayer. Divine source of blessing, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we join in the happiness of all who mark the varied simchas and blessings that they have shared. Adonai be with them now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring our sacred community, we join together in song as we mark this sacred occasion. When Moses was up on Mount Sinai with God, getting plans for the portable sanctuary, the Mishkan, that we first read about in Parshat Trumah a couple of weeks ago, the Israelite people got a little antsy. We read in Ki Tisa last week that when the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, they gathered, Vayikahel, around Aaron and said, "Make us a god to lead us. As for this man Moses who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what's happened to him." The word Vayikahel, describing people gathering together, led, as you know, to the construction of the golden calf. When Moses finally did come down from the mountain with a directive and a plan for the Mishkan, he was reportedly disappointed and angry with the chaos that he found. So, how does one remotivate a demoralized people? How does one repair the broken pieces of what was beginning to be a unified nation? This is the challenge Moses faces in this week's Parsha. The Parsha is a joining of two chapters, Vayakhel and Pikudei, but the first of these chapters, Vayakhel, tells of Moses' approach to rebuilding the shattered community. A kahal is a group of people assembled for a given purpose. Kehillah means community. That kahal may be assembled for good or bad purposes. That is, they may be constructive or destructive. Two grammatical forms of the same word describe how the people gathered. Vayikahel, to have Aaron build them a golden calf idol, and also describes the solution that Moses enlisted to reestablish a community, vayakel. There are two distinct and opposite forms of a kehilah, a community. There can be a task-oriented, cooperative, and purposeful kehilah, and there can be an assembly that is a chaotic mob. Sociologists tell us that there's a phenomenon that can occur in a crowd in which individuals feel like they are anonymized and they lose their sense of self-restraint. Normal, deliberate thoughts are overcome by primitive group feelings. Neuroscientists refer to this as amygdala hijack. For some reason, passions run wild and restraint is uncoupled. And it's frankly all too tempting to think of the January 6th uprising and what should have been ethically embarrassing events, or to think of countless other mob gatherings over history that are examples of destructive kehilah. After Moses calmed down and actually ground the golden calf into a powder, dissolved it, and made the Israelites drink it, he reorganized his approach. This is in the Torah. He reorganized his approach. We read in Parshat Vayakel this week that his more tempered response was to harness the same motivation that misled the people initially. They wanted a sign that God was with them, not up on a mountain talking to Moses, but within their midst and tangible within each of them. He tapped the same desire to give up their precious gold pieces, but this time their actions were in creation of the Mishkan, following God's command. Moses created the community project that God had laid out for him. Now, some rabbinic scholars are of the opinion that this constructive kehilah was in God's plan all along. There's a quote in the Midrash that God creates the cure before the disease. Perhaps the simultaneous giving of the Ten Commandments, the Aseret HaDibrot, to Moses up on Mount Sinai, and the chaos of the impatient Israelite crowd below amplify the opposite nature of a positive nation becoming a community and a negative mob without ethical goals. Moses asked the Israelites to make voluntary contributions to the construction of the Mishkan, and after their somewhat embarrassing treasonous display of unbridled mob behavior, they react with such generosity that Moses ultimately has to order them to stop bringing their valuables due to an overabundance of supplies. Once the community was joined together in a task that no one of them could achieve alone, their unstoppable constructive positivity in following God's instructions emerged. The former president of Yeshiva University, Norman Lamb, once remarked that in all of the writings of the Mishnah, there is only one joke. Scholars increase peace in the world. Now, this joke certainly does not have one rolling on the floor laughing, but the point is that when rabbinic scholars gather, there's generally discourse and disagreement. So how could scholars increase peace in the world? A passage from the book of Isaiah explains, "Scholars increase peace in the world, as it is said, all your children shall be learned of Adonai, and great will be the peace of your children. Your children become your builders and scholars." When scholars become builders, they create peace, teaches Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. If you seek to create a community out of strongly individualistic people, you have to turn them into builders. Team building, as that which faced Moses after the golden calf mob disaster, can come from setting a group task, one that speaks to the group passion, but one that cannot be achieved by a single person alone. Each member must be able to say, not only I made this, but we made this. Modern sociologists and Torah both tell us if you want to build a team, create a team that builds. We have all been in sessions designed to foster unity where the activity is to form a team and build something. But this idea dates back to Moses and Vayakel gathering the people together to build the Mishkan, and it still works. Ending mid-last week, there was an open-ended request to solicit opinions submitted to the CBT board of our ideas for the future of the CBT community. Although the submission deadline ended, I understand you still actually have an opportunity to make your ideas for the building of a stronger community known. It's well proven in Torah and in psychology that builders have a much stronger tie to their product than subsequent users. Our ancestors had a need to strengthen the feeling that God was with them and within them. So Moses gathered them, Vayakel, for the Mishkan building project. These days, we have a similar need to strengthen our community, but that can best be realized by giving of ourselves to each other and by forming a Kahila Kadosha, a sacred community. Ken Yehiratzon. The rabbis of the 14th century added the Aleinu to the closing of each worship service to end the service on a hopeful note. No matter what our days are like now, our best days lie ahead. The Aleinu is on page 586 and 591. Please rise if you're able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, lateit gedula, le'atzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'arazot, ve'lo asamanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo
We'll take a few moments of silent reflection before we read the Kaddish Yatom. You may read from the text on page 592 through 597, or silently recall the memories of your loved ones. This Shabbat, we recall those whose yortzites occurred this week: Ann Cutter Aronson, Nathan Backerman, Saul Baer, Lois Brown, Deborah Ruth Levitt Dutton, Ira Dye, Donald Epstein, Luther J. Fowler, Truman Friend, Esther Goldman, Ann Goldstein, Morris Goldstein, Morris Gorski, Senta Hirsch-Bielsberger, Ducia Idelson, Maurice H. Karch, Ida Jenny Levin, Darlene M. Meltzer, Max Moses, Gerald Paisner, Joseph Rozovsky, Morris Robinetto, Julian Siegel, Alvin B. Schluffman, Max Swade, Earl Unell, Sadie Wacknov, Sam Weingarten, Francis Lee Weinstein, Mary Wickersham. If you're here to say Kaddish for someone whose name I did not read, please let us know their name so we may include them in our prayers. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Kaddish Yatom is on page 598. We stand as a community to support those in mourning. If it is your custom to remain seated, please feel free to do so. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah, be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dekol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'richu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru
I would like to thank Susie Adams, Michelle Cox, Harris Deutsch, and Howard Pittler, our musicians, for really adding a beautiful feeling to our worship tonight. I'd also like to thank the Shalom Squad and ushers, Scott Franklin and Valerie Tokar, who welcomed you when you came in, and Betsy Wanger for participating in the Shabbat honors. Our
Shabbat celebrations continue tomorrow morning with our Sichat Shabbat, or Shabbat conversation in the library. And then following Sichat, we'll have Shabbat morning worship back here in the sanctuary. Both are multi-access.
Come for the appetizers, stay for the meal. You are invited to attend the Good Faith Network Solutions Briefing to learn what solutions Good Faith Network will be taking to our politicians and policymakers. It's 6 p.m. this coming Tuesday, 3/21, at Grace United Methodist Church, and the address is on our website. You are encouraged to arrive early. There will be lots of people there participating.
Spots are filling up for the Congregational Seder on Wednesday, April 5th. Seats are limited, and registration closes March 31st.
On the next slide, you can see a sampling of what we have coming up in April. For more information about upcoming events, check our webpage and our calendar and our kiosk slideshow and our flyer table and our app and any other place that you can find information. You can always call the office if you need to read. Oh, way back. Yes, ma'am.
May I ask a question?
I think so.
How do I get my reservation, my check to you for the Passover?
So on the app, there's a button you can push, or you can go on the website, and if the website's not working for you, you call the office and Alex will help you.
Okay, so I just called it off.
Call the office.
Alex
Yep.
is very helpful.
Can you check with somebody tonight?
No.
Not on Shabbat,
Not
but,
on, on Shabbat, we don't change money.
they will be glad to help you during the week.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll send it in on Monday.
Perfect, perfect.
Our closing song, as we continue to build a sacred community, is Kahila Kadosha. The words are on the screen. Please rise and join in. If you are a tent, then millions of you. We stand here today and remember the dream.
If you are a tent, then millions of you.
We stand here today and Shabbat shalom.
Take care of each other out there.